Alright everyone, how y'all doing today? We are back here with another video. Today we're going to discuss about Nintendo. What are we doing, Nintendo? It's that time of the year where you should expect tons of brand new gaming news. In fact, this week is going to be an onslaught of gaming news, particularly around Summer Game Fest and a state of play happening this week. From the time you're actually watching this, tomorrow should be the state of play, and Friday should be Summer Game Fest. I think there's an Xbox showcase as well next week, but it's E3 season, it's summer gaming season. Let's lock in. There's gonna be a lot of gaming news, and I'm sure Nintendo's also gonna do a Nintendo Direct as well later in the month. And Wilson, why are you telling me there's a Nintendo Direct happening this month? They never announced it. If you follow Nintendo as long as I have, you'll know that Nintendo usually has a cadence of 3 main size directs every year. One being in February, one being in June, and one being around the September time. Let's check, I don't know, 2024. February was a partner showcase. June, there's a Nintendo Direct for Switch games focusing on the second half of 2024. And then August was a Nintendo Direct partner showcase near the end of August 2025. Since that was the launch of the Switch 2, a little bit of a irregular schedule. There is a Nintendo Direct in March, a Switch 2 Direct in April, and a Danganronpa Direct in June. Now, the reason why I didn't have a full-size Direct in 2025 is because, well, it's the Switch 2 launch, right? But we did get a normal general Direct in September. Let's go even further back with 2023. February Direct, Switch games released in the first half of 2023. June Direct, Switch games releasing in the second half of 2023, and a September Direct, winter 2023. And then we can keep going on, but like as you can see, we usually get a Direct for those 3 months, whether it be a general Direct or a partner showcase. We are getting something, right? Now, my prediction on what dates it will fall on, I mean, the past 2 years, June 18th seems to be the day, right? Or at least the week of June 18th. So, I don't know, y'all. That kind of looks like a Nintendo date to me. It could be June 18th, June 17th. I could also see it being next week as well. I'm not sure if Nintendo would like to, push on Summer Game Fest and have it in the same week as an Xbox showcase. But, we're in that season, so I'm gonna say safe guess June 18th or the week of June 18th. What can show up for this Nintendo Direct? I'm low-key expecting not for this to be the big one, but close to the big one, because we have a couple of games lined up for the rest of the year, but not enough to really gauge if Switch 2's year 2 is gonna be that crazy. Because if you look at what's currently announced, right, we got Star Fox releasing June 25th, Splatoon Raiders releasing July 23rd, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave coming out vaguely this year, and Pokemon Winds and Waves coming out next year for the Switch 2 side of things, right? For Switch 1, we just got Random Heaven's New Groove coming out on July 2nd. I think for the general headlines, like your reminders, we're gonna cover Star Fox, maybe just a reminder, or maybe an introduction of new mode or a new feature, a quick 1 minute, hey, Star Fox is coming out, don't forget. Splatoon Raiders, I could see them going a bit deeper, maybe having another trailer for Splatoon Raiders about a new feature or new mode, a bit more of the story, what's going on. Fortune's Weave, I am 100% sure they're gonna cover Fortune's Weave. We're probably gonna get a release date. My guess on when Fortune's Weave is gonna drop, probably around the August to early September time slot. Seems to be kind of like the perfect spot for Fire Emblem. So that's where I'm thinking. Pokemon Winds and Waves, I am not expecting Pokemon Winds and Waves to show up. Granted, Pokemon has been kind of getting pushed a lot more in general Nintendo Direct as of late, because typically they will not show up on Nintendo Direct. They will do their own thing, either a Pokemon Presents or just a new trailer being uploaded to the channel. Over the last year, we've seen a lot of trailers of ZA, and I think all of Pocopia's marketing cycle, besides the final trailer, was shown in a Nintendo Direct. So, can Winds and Waves show up realistically? Possibly. But there are two things. One is there's been rumors from reliable, I mean, I say reliable, but Rillaku. If you know Rillaku, you know. He's saying that we're not gonna get Winds and Waves info for the rest of the year. I kind of call cap to that because of the existence of Pokemon VGC, Pokemon Worlds, right? At the end of Pokemon Worlds, we usually get a bit of info of what's happening in the Pokemon IP, whether it be card game, video games. I don't think really anime is covered there, but Pokemon Unite and all that, it's kind of like a pseudo Pokemon Presents in a way. And we did get a Pokemon Presents last year, actually, before Worlds, if I remember correctly. There is a chance we can get a Pokemon Presents later on in the year, maybe around July, or maybe right before or after Worlds. Now for Nintendo Switch, they're probably gonna talk about Remake 100%. They really haven't been talking about this game at all ever since this reveal. There's been one Nintendo Today like video of one of the mini games where the graphics were more simplified, just updated to fit the art style of the game, and like that's it. They barely talk about this game, so I won't be surprised if we get a maybe not a chunky segment, but a good 2 or 3 minute overview trailer for Rhythm Heaven, because it is coming out next month. So they're gonna have to talk about it. That's where all of the confirmed stuff is 100% sure gonna be talked about. Now, here is the fun part. Let's talk about what could show up, because summer directs are usually when you show your big hitters for the rest of the year. And if you notice, all of these games, except for Winds and Waves, the only thing that's dated is July 2nd, Rhythm Heaven, and July 23rd with Splatoon Raiders. We don't know anything besides that in terms of data information. Again, I think Fire Emblem Fortune Weave is going to be an August, a September title, but we don't know anything coming out for the rest of the year after July. We gotta have something, and Nintendo, they, for the most part, like to have games come out at a monthly cadence. Sometimes they'll skip months, but usually there's always a new game or something dropping every month. In terms of first party games, I believe without a shadow of a doubt that they're going to talk about Zelda's 40th anniversary. Now, what can I see showing up for the Zelda 40th anniversary? 100% we're getting movie news. That's just a given. We're gonna probably get the first teaser trailer. We're gonna see Zelda and Link in action. If the remake is Ocarina of Time, I won't be surprised if the movie is also at least heavily based off of Ocarina of Time, probably doing its own thing, but a large inspiration from Ocarina of Time. What do I want from the Ocarina of Time remake? Honestly, this is one of those tricky situations where like, do I want to see a faithful remake, or want them to go in a different direction, but being maybe more so a reimagining of Ocarina of Time? Since Ocarina of Time is playable on Switch, I more so want them to see what they can do, just absolutely overhauling the game. Not really going a Final Fantasy remake direction, but maybe going above and beyond and reimagining what Ocarina of Time can be. Now, I could also see them going in the absolute safest route, because this is widely considered one of the most beloved best games of all time. So any risk of this game being absolutely mid, Nintendo doesn't really want that to happen, right? Do I want to see this game go in the Breath of the Wild direction? I don't know. I'm just curious to see what they can do, really. I don't want it to play like Breath of the Wild, but maybe a remake done in the engine of Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, I won't be mad about that. I'm just more so curious if this game is actually happening. I am, let's say, 90% sure this game is happening. Now, what they can also do is tease the next mainline game. I do not think we are close enough for the next mainline game. I can see them teasing it starting next year, but I feel like the next mainline is quite a ways away. Breath of the Wild came out 2017, March 3rd on the Wii U and Nintendo Switch. So 2017. Tears of the Kingdom came out 2023. Now, this game, obviously there is a big elephant in the room, one being the pandemic happened mid-development. So that I'm sure things got really pushed back because of that, and they're really trying to optimize this thing for Nintendo Switch. So a 6-year gap for Tears of the Kingdom Do I expect a 6-year gap for the next game? I don't think so, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I think that more so depends on who is developing this Ocarina of Time remake. If it is Anuma's team at EPD, or is it a different team? Because I doubt Gresco is working on this, since they are mostly in charge of Link's Awakening and Echoes of Wisdom. Echoes of Wisdom is pretty recent. I'm not sure if there's enough time between Echoes of Wisdom and this new game for Gresco to work on. So it could be a new team within APD working on this title. Maybe I am kind of open to the idea of the next mainline being teased, but I don't think they want to shy away from, or I don't think they want people to be distracted from the Ocarina of Time reveal. So I'm actually more so leaning that the next mainline will be announced after Ocarina of Time Remake is announced, or comes out rather. And there's a shorter marketing window for this new Zelda game compared to what happened with Tears of the Kingdom. Now, Nintendo has mentioned that they want to keep the Nintendo Switch 1 pretty active, as well as we're still within that transition year. So what other Switch 1 games do I expect Nintendo to just show up on and give us? Right? Because we got a couple spring games for Switch 1. We got Rhythm Heaven for summer. I can see a fall game for the Switch 1 as well. Not gonna lie, my Kirby senses are tingling, and I wouldn't be shocked that Planet Robobot or Kirby Triple Deluxe will get remastered for the Switch 1, maybe get a Switch 2 edition for like an extra mode or something. I don't know. I can see that happening. Now, when it's coming out, probably fall, probably September. I don't know. Now for Nintendo Switch 2 editions, I can absolutely see Nintendo still trying to keep pushing Switch 2 editions to kind of like bridge the gap between releases and that monthly cadence of, hey, let's have something for people to just play if we don't have a game coming out for this month. One thing I noticed is that most of these Nintendo Switch 2 editions is that if they're not the day-to-day releases, like a ZA or a Metroid Prime 4, most of these releases are evergreen titles that will consistently still get sales long after the game has been released. So like Kirby Star Cross World, Forgotten Land Switch 2 edition, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. In fact, out of nowhere, we've gotten Fitness Boxing, Nintendo Switch 2 edition, coming out this year. We've gotten Animal Crossing, New Horizons, Nintendo Switch 2 edition. We've gotten, not really first party, but Hello Kitty Island Adventure, Nintendo Switch 2 edition. Mario Party Jamboree, Switch 2 edition. Mario Wonder, Switch 2 edition. I'm not saying that's a goddamn title. These are evergreen titles that will constantly get sales over the course of time, where Nintendo can just double dip and keep getting sales for these games on the newest platform, right? Now, what are some evergreen titles that have yet to get a Switch 2 edition yet? There are a couple that come to mind. One is Pikmin. Pikmin 4 should absolutely get a Switch 2 edition, especially since they've kind of been like quietly pushed behind the scenes. They're showing up on the Nintendo Music Park. They showed in the Galaxy movie. They're Pikmin Bloom is super popular right now in the mobile scene. Again, that one short for the Pikmin, like Close to You, I think it was called. That one Pikmin short animation that they uploaded to YouTube last year, like they're pushing Pikmin a lot. And I think Pikmin's anniversary is also this year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Pikmin's 25th anniversary is actually this year. So I mean, a Pikmin 4 Switch 2 edition seems like a no-brainer slot in. Now, can I see a Pikmin 5 happening? Probably. They probably want to do a Pikmin 4 Switch 2 edition and maybe a Pikmin 3 free patch as well to, you know, get most of the people over, or at least tie people by until new Pikmin comes out. So I can totally see a Pikmin 4 Switch 2 edition happening, as well as Nintendo Switch Sports. Nintendo Switch Sports, let's go back to, I want to draw your attention to this document. You probably see me scrolling through this a bit for this video already. This is Nintendo's financial results for the end of the second quarter, May 8th. If you guys want to access this is readily available information. Nintendo IR sales. Search this on Google or whatever your search engine of choice. you'll see this immediately. And then I like going to this side, the financial results explanatory material with notes. And this is where you get your Nintendo quarterly sales charts, freely available on Google. It's really easy to look at official data for Nintendo sales. I'm gonna scroll all the way down to their million seller units. So page 27, I want to draw your attention to this. Nintendo Switch Sports, this is in units of 10,000s, by the way. So this number right here, 1832, that means Nintendo Switch Sports, as of now, has sold 18 million units. Dog, they are absolutely gonna make a Switch 2 edition of this game. 1000%. Like, I don't know how else to put it. They're gonna make a Switch 2 edition of this game. Now, what can I see them adding? Maybe Woohoo Island. That'd be kind of cool. But like, I don't own this game, so I don't really know much of what's there or what's missing. That's my question to y'all. Have they added the Wii Sports Resort stuff? If not, then they can absolutely add that. Or maybe Woo Island or something. Those are like the only two on the top of my head where I'm like, oh yeah, that's a no-brainer. Nintendo Switch 2 edition. They can absolutely just shadow drop that whenever they feel like it. Since we're kind of on the topic of updates, DLC, Switch 2 editions and all that, I wanted to like talk about Mario Kart World for a second. We're about to celebrate its first anniversary in a couple days, June 5th. Now, do I expect anything happening on that day specifically? We might get an acknowledgement, we might get a patch, but I won't be surprised that during this summer direct, they're might gonna, call attention to Mario Kart World, and we will get our first major. I want to call people's attention again to this Q&A interview for the fiscal year of ending of March 2026. With Nintendo's president Shigeru Furukawa. Sales of Mario Kart World seem to have been slowed down since shipments of the hardware bundle concluded in December. What's your assessment and your reasoning behind this? In addition, what is the background behind the 16 million units of Switch 2 software projected for this fiscal year? This question itself is not really relevant for my point, but Furukawa mentioned that while I'll refrain from talking about the state of sales for individual titles, Mario Kart World is an important title that we will like to continue selling throughout the life cycle of the Nintendo Switch 2. That sentence, for me, I kind of been hammering home that like Mario Kart World for Nintendo is going to be a lifelong game for this generation. I feel like the game was designed in a way where they are going to keep adding stuff on top, and we have seen that with the Bomb battle mode being randomly added in an update, the random events they are doing. So at that point that Furukawa made kind of reinforced my belief that this game, Mario Kart World, was designed in a way where they are going to add content to this game over the course of the entire generation, which is why a lot of people felt that this game was kind of, even though it's a great game, lovely entry in the series, is kind of missing some of the sauce. Like, it's not fully there yet in terms of course amount, in terms of characters, in terms of costumes. It feels like there's something missing. And while I don't really agree with that, with this type of designed philosophy, I kind of get that this is just what they're gonna do. This is gonna be a lifelong console. Not lifelong. This is gonna be a console-long game. So they really just gotta get a move on with these updates. And I guess I kind of always had the belief that they will start rolling out content after the first year of the game was out. After the first anniversary, they'll start pushing out actual content to the game, whether it be new modes, whether it be new characters, new costumes, new intermissions, or not really intermissions, new connector tracks, new knockout tours, even just straight up new worlds. Would tie in with the Mario anniversary. Realistically, will it be tied to Mario anniversary? Maybe. They might just tie it in just to like have that label there. I doubt it'll really be connected to the Galaxy motif, because we're kind of like past that now. Miyamoto's like, yeah, the Galaxy movie is gonna be the tentpole, is culminate all to this movie. I doubt if Mario Kart World update happens, they might label it as anniversary, but I doubt it's gonna have any real connective tissue to it. I'm 90% sure we're gonna get Mario Kart World substance in here. Honestly, what I really want from this anniversary update is just more costumes, 200cc, new knockout tours, and honestly probably like 2 tracks, because I feel like we're just kind of just missing a couple tracks here and there in Mario Kart World. 200cc will be lovely, more knockout tours would be lovely. Honestly, just the option to choose your routing for a knockout tour will be great. In terms for me, how I am currently enjoying Mario Kart World is honestly going to versus mode and just doing all connected tracks, because I'm going through different routes and experiencing routes I have never been through before. And for me, that's really fun. It's kind of like a pseudo road trip mode in a sense. And having that in Knockout Tour where you can just choose your routing either at the start and people can vote on what routing wins, or if it's, you know, track by track where people can vote on which segment they want to go on. Whatever they choose to go about it, I feel like choosing your own Knockout Tour pathing would be amazing. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Mario Kart World. I am 90% sure it's gonna get announced, but we shall see, right? Now, here's where we're gonna talk about the third-party games. Not gonna lie, y'all, expect the third-party announcements to come in strong. This year for Switch 2 has been so great when it comes to third-party releases, and I feel like it's just gonna get even stronger. Honestly, I'm surprised we haven't gotten more third-party showcases for the Nintendo Switch 2 this year. So many of this year's announcements for Switch 2 has just been third parties announcing on their own platforms, on their own terms, on whether it be online, on Twitter or YouTube, just posting their trailers. Or if you follow like Wario 64, you'll be bombarded with new game releases or announcements like every day for the Switch 2. It's been unreal. So in terms of third parties, what do I expect to be announced for the third parties for the Nintendo Switch 2 this year? As of games, 4 games that are already been announced. When this video drops, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will probably already be out. It does say June 3rd, but again, Japan time. Then we got eFootball coming out again, same day. Elliot, June 18th. Oh, interesting. July 9th, Grand Blue Fantasy Ragnarok. This is like the DLC expansion for Ragnarok. For Switch 2 is going to be a dual release. You're going to have the game and the DLC coming out at the same time. Cold Step begins July 16th. 007 says summer 2026. I'm pretty sure this game was delayed actually, so there is no confirmed release date for this game yet. Just imagine this was just 2026. Orbitals. I am so excited for Orbitals. I need a release date for this game immediately. I am going to pick this up. It's going to be a stellar entry. Village Crusade, I haven't really seen much of this, but apparently coming out in autumn 2026. And Professor Layton's new game is also coming out in 2026. So we're probably going to have a release date for all of these games and a reminder of these games coming out. Now, what are some games that don't have release dates yet, but I can absolutely see there being news for? First of all, Elden Ring for Switch 2 is not out yet. In fact, it's been delayed. We don't have a release date for that yet. Elden Ring was announced at the Switch 2 Reveal Direct, and we don't really have a release date for this game yet, because it was supposed to come out last year around the holiday season, funnily enough. But, you know, it got delayed because it had really bad performance issues, and hopefully it gets, you know, ironed out. But hey, hopefully it actually looks good when it actually comes out and it actually plays well. So we're probably gonna have a release date for Elden Ring Switch 2 in this direct. Speaking of FromSoft, we are 1000% getting FromSoft's new game, Duskbloods. Duskbloods needs new info. We haven't heard about this game since the reveal, and we gotta know. We need to know more about this game. We need to know more, especially since I'm pretty sure this is a Switch 2 exclusive, whether it be a time exclusive or an actual full-on exclusive. That remains to be seen. But Duskbloods, I'm expecting that to be an October title if it hasn't been delayed, so we shall see there, right? 007, like I said, it has been delayed. We might get a new release date within this direct, we shall see. Or it might just be like randomly tweeted one day, who knows. Metaphor ReFantasio. I am 1000% sure we will get Metaphor in this direct. Metaphor is a spectacular game that should be on Switch 2. I'm surprised it's not on Switch 2 yet. We did get Persona 3 Reload on Switch 2 last year. It launched in kind of an odd state, not gonna lie, but it has been ironed out. There's now performance mode for 60 FPS is now a solid release. They're probably going to be ironing out the kinks for Metaphor Refantasio, so that's why it's not announced yet. But I'm fully 100% sure Metaphor will be announced. Will there be a DLC tie-in? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure Metaphor's gonna be a one and done game. So there's that. Yakuza. I am also 100% sure that we will get more Yakuza games. RGG has been locking in when it comes to Yakuza support for the Switch 2. We got Yakuza 0 Director's Cut. We got Yakuza Kiwami 1, 2, and 3 on the Switch 2 already. It's going crazy. Let me actually pull it up. Yakuza 1, 2, 3, Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, Kiwami 2, and Kiwami 3, and it's like a DLC tie-in are already on Switch 2. So I wouldn't be surprised that we get more of the remaster ports making their way for Switch 2. I think the director or the studio head already said that Kiwami 4 is not happening, so we won't be getting remakes for those games, but we're probably going to see ports of the remasters of 4, 5, and 6. Maybe we'll get Like a Dragon and Infinite Wealth. Who knows? We might even get the spin-off stuff like The Man Who Erased His Name and Pirate Yakuza with Majima. That's possible, right? But I'm 1% sure that we're going to get more Yakuza coming to the Switch 2. It's gonna be so peak. It's gonna be so peak, y'all. We got a elephant in the room, a little hedgehog in the room. We got a interesting game that might indicate the reason why we are getting this direct. Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition. It has been a game that's been leaked for like over a month now, and all signs are pointing it to be a Switch 2 edition game because there's been no reports of this game existing on other platforms. There is a bit of evidence that it might come to Steam because this game got a permanent price cut on Steam very recently. Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition does kind of look like it's gonna be a Switch 2 re-release. I'm not sure if it's gonna be an edition because it's not labeled as Nintendo Switch 2 edition, so it might just be a full-on new re-release, which kind of sucks. They kind of did this with Sonic X Shadow Generations, where the Switch 2 version of the game was just a full-on new re-release with no upgrade path. I'm kind of expecting that here, unfortunately. So what can this Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition entail? It does seem like it's just gonna be a bundled in experience where you have all the free updates patched in already, and like all of the DLC for the cosmetics also bundled in, and maybe the visuals look better, and then the pop-in hopefully looks better. You know, maybe there's less pop-in and all that. This is such a vague release because realistically, we don't know. We just don't know anything about this game besides it's coming to Switch 2. Maybe it looks better and like that's it. Yeah, and apparently it's gonna be a $50 price tag. We don't know anything about it. Oh, update. Dreamlabs has shared an additional update claiming that European Physical Edition will be a game key card. I'm not surprised. I'm legit actually not surprised game key card because Shadow Gen's Switch 2. Yeah, I'm not surprised, unfortunately, because since this is not using the Switch 2 edition label and it's just Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition, they're just gonna be bypassing the Switch 2 edition requirement of bundling the first game, the original game, and the patch on top of it, since Shadow Gens was also a re-release. It wasn't labeled as Definitive Edition, it was just a re-release for Switch 2, and that was a game key card. I am unfortunately not surprised considering the title of the game, the name of the game, that's not gonna be an upgrade path. It sucks. I don't own Sonic Frontiers on Switch 1, I own it on PS5, so I'm probably not gonna pick this up, a full-on new release again. So it is what it is. I'm really just curious on what this release entails, because if this is the Sonic release for this year to celebrate its anniversary, that would be such a massive disappointment. But we shall see, right? With the whole Sonic anniversary thing going on, right? All right, next couple of games. What other games do I see coming out this year for Nintendo Switch 2? I also won't be surprised that Expedition 33 also makes its way on Nintendo Switch 2. The devs seem to be curious about releasing on that platform. Will I see it coming out this year? I don't know. I'll probably give it a 25% chance, but I won't be surprised if it gets announced. I can also see Monster Hunter World being announced. This I'm more 50-50 on. There were details and like notes that the existence of a Switch 2 port was gonna happen, That still remains to be seen, but Monster Hunter World, I can see it happening. Now, I won't be surprised if more Resident Evil remakes are on their way for the Nintendo Switch 2. The Switch 2 does have the remakes of RE2, 3, and 4, I believe. Actually, no, just RE2 and 3. But they're specifically the cloud versions of these games, which is what we don't want to see. We want to see actual native versions of RE2 and 3. So I can also see that happening. We do have RE Village, Biohazard, and RE9 Requiem on the Switch 2 already. So seeing 2 and 3, and I heard there was rumors of Code Veronica happening as well. So seeing more of that, I can see that as likely as well. Mario Rivals. There's been rumblings of Mario Rivals Switch 2 version. I mean, I won't be surprised. It's a very popular hero shooter. It makes sense. Overwatch is already on there. All right, Mario's gotta move on, I guess. Genshin Impact. So most of you don't know about this, but Genshin Impact was announced to come out on the Nintendo Switch 6 years ago in 2020 and is yet to make its way to the Nintendo Switch, probably because it can't run it at a stable frame rate, to be honest. But there were murmurs recently that a Nintendo Switch login account manager has been added to the game. So I wouldn't be surprised if Genshin Impact and the rest of the MiHoYo games make their way to Nintendo Switch 2. It's such a giant market. So like, again, it just makes sense to have it be on the platform. Now for my wild cards. My wild cards for Switch 2 games releasing this year. Honestly, these are just a guess. These are close to like 10 to 0% chance of happening. I will always bring this up to the end of time. Xenosaga Trilogy remastered or remake or port, I don't care. Give me Xenosaga, Bandai. Where are they? Where are they, Bandai? Give me my Xenosaga remaster trilogy. Put them on modern consoles, Bandai. For Enix, where's my Xenogears? Never happening. Luigi's Mansion 4. I feel like there's a solid enough chance where Luigi's Mansion 4 could at least be teased. Now, if it's coming out this year, I doubt it, but I feel like it's enough time for Next Level Games to show off Luigi's Mansion 4. 3D Mario. I am not expecting 3D Mario to show up. Would it be cool? Yes. Will I freak out? Yes. Will I throw a chair? Yes. But can I see it coming out this year? No. Unless they want to pull a fast one on me. I just don't think it's happening. I don't think it's the year, unfortunately. Next year, absolutely. This year, probably not. Kingdom Hearts native ports. Now, I put native ports because there's been some weird shuffling happening with Kingdom Hearts on Nintendo Switch. The demos for the cloud versions of the Kingdom Hearts series have been removed from the eShop relatively recently. Now, does that imply anything? No. Do I want to see the actual native ports for Kingdom Hearts on Nintendo Switch and Switch 2? Yes. Doesn't mean anything. Again, no. But it will be awesome. And obviously GTA 6, why not? Can I see it coming out for Switch 2? Yeah. This year? No. Will it be sick reveal? Yes. Will Rockstar ever put their trailers reviewing their new game on a, on any other platform besides themselves? No. That's all I got. All right, y'all. Those are my thoughts for the summer Nintendo Direct. I feel like it's gonna be a big one. I did yap a lot of a ton of games that could be shown, but realistically, I do feel like a lot of these, besides, the wild cards near the end, have a solid enough chance of showing up. Also, let me know your thoughts on what you think can show up for the upcoming Nintendo Direct and what you love to see on the Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 later this year. That's gonna be it for today, y'all. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye now.